There's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. A little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP. Hey, Gumpers.
Yes, indeed. You're on the morning show with GMP, and you are the GMP if you're here this morning. Expatsportugal.com. Carl Munson here with the Good Morning Portugal live stream. What a great evening last night. The webinar was fantastic. The Ask Our Expats webinar that we do every... they're coming in thick and fast. And who doesn't like it thick and fast in the morning? See, there you go. We're hitting the ground running this morning. Also known as the Portuguese Breakfast Show, but don't Google that, anybody. All right, and I know exactly what you're going to do now. Okay, but keep this tab open, won't you? You have been busy in the comments. And yeah, I was saying last night, the Ask Our Expats webinar, every first Thursday of the month, a chance to talk to the Ask Our Expats team. We have rejigged, remixed, and Astrid, great job, Astrid. Thank you very much. The Ask Our Expats tab on the website will help you connect with somebody who's lived in Portugal for a little while, who can help you this side of the water. And you can hire them in hourly, 3-hourly or 6-hourly chunks, and you get a nice bulk discount if you want to cultivate a longer term friendship and communication with an Ask Our Expats expert. An expert in lifestyle, okay? Not the migration stuff, not the wealth and taxation stuff necessarily. They may have personal experience of that, but really their lived experience here in Portugal, that's what you'll be drawing down. We have a whole business directory full of all the other professionals that you need for the migration and wealth and tax and shipping and all those sorts of things and vehicles, etc., etc. I think we've got it covered, haven't we? If there are any holes in our offering, you will let us know, won't you? I am here, but I'm not all there. A nice one, Thunderduck, who was here at 7:38 getting ready for the show. Good morning to you. And he issues this Bon de Alegria Gumpers to all of you, to the whole world. And William chipping in on that sort of vibe with I'd rather have a bottle in front of me than a frontal lobotomy. And I think that is possibly the motto of the Man Cave, which I believe celebrates its 6-month anniversary under the leadership of, it's a collaboration, isn't it? But it's certainly under the leadership and technical capability of Portugalish Andy. Great job. Thank you so much, Andy. When I laid down my headphones in that particular department and microphone, Andy was right there and picked up that baton and ran with it and has done a fantastic job for these last 6 months. And long may it continue. I think it's a very good, what would you call it? A relief valve, and all the young trogs get together and shout out at each other in capital letters like this. You see, there you go. Here are some good examples of what they do on a Friday night. If you want more of that, plus some drinking and some self-expression, let's call it self-expression, that's where you should go on a Friday night, 10 o'clock, to Portugalish's. Is that? Could you put the link in, please, Andy? That would be great for the Man Cave Reloaded 6-month anniversary tonight. Fantastic. Okay, Abu's here as well. Bon dia to you, Abu. And Sabio's back this morning. Hola, etc. Very good. I'm early, says William. William, what are you doing there? You fondling a banana this early morning, William Williams? You'll be careful doing that in public, mate. I'm early, probably asleep before casting begins. And I was thinking, he's here early for the casting, for the movie, things that go gump in the night. But no, I think he means the live broadcasting, don't you there? William, I hope you do. Anyway, I haven't started casting for the movie yet, and I don't really want that job. Thank you very much. Jenni B, Bon de Alegria Gumpers, I'm not awake yet. Well, that's a really nice admission. Let's see what we can do about that. Jenni! And Andy as well, seconding that emotion there. I'd rather have a full bottle in front of me than a full frontal lobotomy. Excellent in capital letters, as you would expect from the leader of the Man Cavers. Today in Portugal, Portuguese history is for the lovers. Ooh, a kind of Capricorn 12 track of the day meets the erotic novel. Ooh, can't wait for that. And day 2 for Andy in the UK, and already feels like Groundhog Day. Oh dear. Sorry to hear that. We'll do our best to cheer you up from this side of the water on the Portuguese Breakfast Show. That could be the title of one of our books, quite frankly. My version is to have a free bottle in front of me rather than a prefrontal lobotomy. Great minds. That's really, very good. Well done, everybody, this morning. And did someone say free beer? I don't think they did, but that's obviously what we need to do if ever we want your attention. Free beer. Check out the Ask Our Expats tab on the website, newly redesigned for ease of connecting with those people who are in our illustrious team there. And I'm going to put it into the comments now so that you can do that if you want to. Great night last night. That was 7:30 on up till about 10 to 9, and then we had the Expats Portugal plan people, and Vitor was chatting to everybody in that group as well, which was really good as well. So great night last night. There's no need for that, Andy. Or hands off. No, I'm not even going to go there. Abu shouting out, saying hello to everybody, as is Capricorn 12. Chris is here this morning, everybody. And hola, bon dia, kids from the south this morning. Good morning to you, Victoria. How's that YouTube channel going? Feel free to remind us. I mean, a nice day for your channel, I think. A nice, easygoing Feelgood Friday, of course, today. And Jenni B will be here soon after 9 o'clock. And I have the ideal meme for that. Let's just chuck a few memes about. I quite like this. These have got better and better. These some of the things that have caught my attention on social media just recently, and some of the things that get sent in to the show on 913-590-303. This came in. Look, not trying to brag, but I have enough money to not work for the rest of the year. I should hasten to point out that this was sent to me on the 31st of December last year. Thank you very much, Pippa, for that. Who also sent in. We need to re-stimulate the Pussies, Pooches and Pests corner, don't we? Whereby we get pictures of this kind. And goodness only knows what will come in with a feature of like that. But in the pest department, although this one's a goodie, apparently. Let me just find out what he's called. No silly comments. He isn't called Eric, well, he might be called Eric. But the species, and I can't send the meme you most recently sent in, Pippa, honestly. I can't put that on the screen. That is a Derby's flower beetle. And that was in the garden in Botswana this morning. So that's fantastic. Matty, if you're in, can I share that lovely picture of the gathering? I just want to make sure that's absolutely okay to do that. This one came in as well. If you're looking for an early Christmas present idea for Christmas 2022, how about that? So it's based on the old flap down long johns, isn't it? But there's a nice, for those of you who are not watching the podcast, enjoying the podcast, who can't see the images for one reason or another. We have a gentleman with a shirt on with a very handy drop down flap for vaccination into the bicep there. We also have this, which is, I suppose, a bit of a sentiment that we could say goes alongside the trigger alert that's very popular. I've got my finger hovering over that, don't you worry. The next time you see someone enjoying something, and thank you to Vitor Costa for this, I think he posted this up on his Facebook timeline, very good. The next time you see someone enjoying something that isn't hurting anyone, that's not your cup of tea, instead of saying something negative, train yourself to think to yourself, I'm glad they're happy, and carry on with your life. I think the next step after that is to stop thinking about it at all. Just let them be, and just it's none of your business, unless it is, unless it does become your business. But that's fantastic, Vitor. Thank you very much. And finally, for now, just to describe this visually for people who can't see it on the screen, January the 1st, a young lady with grimacing face drinks a green juice from a glass. January the 1st. Presumably her New Year's resolution. And this is what we'll be talking about with Jenni B when she arrives. What's in store for 2022? What's the expression? How at cause are we prepared to be to shape the sort of year we want? Or is it going to be another year of being the victim of chronology? Let's talk about that, shall we, after 9 o'clock, and maybe take that to new levels of sovereignty and self-responsibility for 2022, because we know in our hearts that's where it's at, don't we? But anyway, back to the meme. January the 1st, green juice, grimaced face, there are apples and there are avocados in the fridge. The look on her face, if you can't see it, is one of that you might want to hold your nose while sipping on the green juice. However, in the lower image, by January the 5th, another young lady is drinking red wine straight out of the bottle. That's how it goes sometimes with the resolutions, doesn't it? Those things that are set up just to punish ourselves with. Let's talk about intention. Let's talk about possibility from 9 o'clock and how we can get involved in the creation of our own reality, right? After 9 o'clock. We have a currency update that I'm going to share with you in just a moment as well from Spartan FX. Get a free account with them sooner rather than later if you haven't done so already. I know there are a lot of Spartan FX fans here. And we'll have Ben or Sarah with us live on the show. If you want to talk about currency, and we often have an interesting discussion with them about money. It was naked. Was it mermaids, topless women on pound notes? Well, not. It wasn't pound notes. Was it? It was a currency? I forget now. In the South Seas, I think somewhere we had a woman, a bare-chested woman, proudly emblazoned on some currency. So we don't just do the currency rates; we talk about the lighter side of money as well. They'll be back on Tuesday of next week, Ben or Sarah, to do that. But I've got a currency update for you. If you want to know how your dollars or your pounds are doing in relation to the euro, I'll read that in just a moment. Chris Smith is here, everybody. That Pedro and Inish story is a creepy one. Yeah, it is, for sure. But it's a fabulous story, isn't it, Chris? And today, this is what is being referred to, isn't it? Today in Portuguese history, 1355, some of you might remember it, Inish de Castro dies. But that's not all. Mistress before his accession to Pedro I. Yeah, a great story, worth looking up. She was famous because of her tragic death, which is told by writers and poets such as Luis de Camões. And it's a kissing the ring story, I think, isn't it? So it's worth looking up. Eusebio goes on to say, morning, Andrew, how's the dreary UK treating you? No sympathy. Oh, but they're both there, I suppose. So he can say that. Today's erotica chapter, he awoke with a feeling of anticipation. Oh, and Raphael should join us next Thursday. Okay, who's going to do the actual voiceover when it comes to making the book? He awoke with a feeling of anticipation, eagerly awaiting his day 2 home PCR test kit. That's what it's come down to. Get one of those shirts as well, Andy. Bon dia todos from Rosemary Baker. Good morning, Rosemary. I forget where you are, Rosemary. Do please remind us if you don't mind. And bon dia, my favorite line from the morning show. Don't worry, it's just the Gumpers. Completely harmless. Do not poke with a stick, though. There's always holes in every offering. It's true. A male collective band of what is this? Oh, that's a description. I didn't know if those two comments were connected. A male collective band of bros. There's your man cave for you. Oh, and a new name here, right? The Algarve Acre. Morning we wait until. Well, it's Algarve Acre. Are you somebody we already know, or are we making your acquaintance this morning? Either way, great to have you here. Carl, I did my MRI. I nearly read that out as Mr. I. It's like an X-ray, but you have to lay down. That's nice. You get a rest, don't you? Rather than having to stand up, you can have a little. You can do a bit of mindful meditation for a moment. But they have you lay down and put you inside a tube. I was so uncomfortable. I imagined myself watching Good Morning Portugal, and it relaxed me. Oh, bless you. Well, I'm all for it. If that little bit of NLP anchoring there. If this is the good feeling, feel good show, and you can summon up good feelings at any time by just thinking about it, our job is done here. Algarve Acre, okay, a man cave regular by the sound of it. Beer o'clock is 10 tonight. I think that's somebody we already know, isn't it? Is the flap for a vaccine or nicotine patch? Double bubble, says Michael Heron, who joined me, of course, for the beer special. Not free beer. Everyone relax. I don't have any free beer offers, but I mean, it's next to free, isn't it? Come on, what is it? What are you paying down your cafe for an Imperial? It's very, very good value here in Portugal. We can't complain, can we, at the cost of beer here in Portugal? Michael referring to the new shirt idea. Should we get that branded as one of the merch items in our shop? A little cockerel logo, Barcelos cockerel on the chest pocket there. But what else could you put through that flap, I wonder? You could show off your tattoos as well, couldn't you? But very good. Excellent. This is such an innovative and imaginative community, is it not? The OLP here, everybody, this morning. Hi to all you lovely gumpers, bon dia. Love the green juice and fiber, absolutely. And Cindy B is actually having that'll wake you up, Cindy B. I'm having that green juice right now. Give it a few days, you'll be drinking red wine straight out of the bottle. Nice Monty Python reference. Morning all, and they say Eric, the half a beetle. Yes, people liking their Monty Python references, of course, here because we're of a certain age. Bon dia, looking forward to Jenni B. Yep, she'll be here soon after 9. I hope. She's German. She's good on the old timekeeping. And let's see if that's a terrible stereotype or if it proves to be true, shall we? Abu Muhammad, my New Year resolution is to watch Good Morning Portugal every day. And I already missed it. That's what resolutions for you. So we'll come back to it. We're going to use that. We'll use that, Abu, and we'll find a different way of making it so that it's not a stick and carrot thing. But it's more, it lives in the realm of intention and possibility and the law of attraction. Okay, let's talk about that. So we are loving the green juice and fiber, says OLP. And Owen's here. I woke in an instant. And what do I see? It is Feelgood Friday with Carl and Jenni B. Very good. I just picked up as I began to read that it was a rhyming couplet. Thank you for that, Owen. The Shakespeare of Al Viagra. Short week means Friday has come round early. Is that your work schedule or is it just how it feels? Don't encourage the government car. Is that with the shirt there? Or intravenous English breakfast. Yeah, not Portuguese breakfast. I was going to say you never get it through that flap. But intravenous, yes, that's another possible use for the old flap down shirt. And bon dia, OLP. I love Oregon. It's a beautiful state. It was always nice to escape Phoenix heat in the summer. Says Abu there. And the patch shirt is also to plug in your electrodes to be energized. Is this a new thing you have in America, in modern America there? Electrodes that you get strapped to your arm. Beam me up, Scotty. I've not heard of that yet, but I'm sure Elon is working on something like that. Abu, I loved Phoenix as well. I lived there for 4 years. So loving like a love fest of the States over there in the States this morning. Let's read that currency news for you from carefully crafted by Spartan FX. Got to find it first though, haven't I? Oh, here we go. Right, so attention please, if you're interested in how many euros your GBP or your USDs are buying this morning. As we come into the new year, markets will be focusing on the different pace of central bank tightening. And is that for the erotic novel? He tightened his central bank. The interest rate announcements, and of course, COVID, the spread of the Omicron variant. What did I just say? The various restrictions implemented by different countries and how Omicron will impact economic growth. So as far as the GBP euro rate goes, GBP euro is trading at 22-month highs. Isn't that amazing? I don't think people really expected that, did they? The UK government's decision to power through the Omicron surge with relatively few restrictions seems to have been rewarded by investors. Here, the rationale seems to be that an open economy and continued high energy prices will keep the risk of a further Bank of England tightening in February in play. So back to the Tory values for the Tories then. It's looking a lot like a socialist government. This isn't what Sarah's writing. That's just my additions there. Businesses are also hopeful of an economic recovery in 2022. Really? And for less disruption caused by Brexit and supply chain issues. But can these levels hold firm? She asks. The ECB clearly will lag its global peers in this tightening cycle. ECB's president, Christine Lagarde, has already pushed back market expectation of an interest rate hike in 2022. However, we think there were subtle but clear signs that the institution is shifting its view on inflation. This is what I think. This is the dread, isn't it? The general dread of inflation, and these are inflationary. There's an inflationary context, is there not, with all that's gone on and the amount of money that has been borrowed, spent, etc., on everyone's behalf. The inflation forecasts. If I heard that the UK government spent 500 million alone on COVID advertising. That was pretty good, wasn't it, for the media? The inflation forecasts were revised sharply higher. Also, the Omicron variant, I can't say it, was cited as a potential cause of additional inflation and inflammation. It's getting blamed for everything. COVID infection rates still bear heavily on both currencies. Boris's more lax stance on COVID restrictions has been positive for the pound. However, staff shortages due to sick days and isolation could cause more problems especially as schools start to open, putting pressure on the pound. So we shall see, won't we, in the opening month of 2022, how that affects the GBP euro combo. And now to the euro USD US dollar combo. As expected, the Federal Reserve doubled the speed of the taper and will wrap its bond purchases no later than March. And I trust you Americans understand what that means. Chair Powell suggested that the central bank is much more worried about inflation than at the previous meeting, and that it sees the labor market as close to full employment. Is that really in the United States? I thought loads of people had quit recently or been fired. The rate has moved a lot in your favor of late. Anyway, back to the exchange rate due to the expected hike in March. However, this will largely be priced into the rate already. This means we may not see a lot of movement once the rate hike is eventually announced. Last month, we saw something very similar when the Bank of England raised interest rates. The pound actually dropped after it happened, as the Bank of England did not hint at any further rate hikes in the near future. So watch that closely, folks. Historically, the US dollar is still very high, and we may not expect it to stay this strong forever. Longer term, it could weaken as the global economy improves, now that the threat of lockdowns, etc., is starting to fall. We could see more optimism that the global economy will improve. If this continues, we will likely see investors' money move away from safe havens such as the US dollar and gold and move into higher yielding assets such as equities and stocks. That's as confidence and the risk. People become less averse to risk, right, in those sorts of conditions. In the short term, you may see an improvement in the rate. However, in the long term, the rate could move against you eventually. So that's their serving suggestion on the exchange rates there from Spartan FX. If you want some certainty, they add, it may be wise to look at your requirements sooner rather than later. Be prepared. Like the Boy Scouts, Spartan FX say be prepared. And I say this as well from speaking to other people. It's important to not leave the whole business of exchanging your dollars or your pounds into euros until the last minute, because there can be practical problems that go with that. Okay, so if you want to set up an account, and it's free to do that with our partners Spartan FX, use the link that's in the chat right now. Nick Bradley's here, I've just noticed as well. Let's go back. I'm not one to encourage the government. I do find myself saying things and then thinking, no, you don't want to be giving them ideas, do you? A bit like the food court at the moment, where you have to show your vaccination passport. You could say, couldn't you, that they could police it for people who are seriously obese or shouldn't be eating, fast food. But then that would just give the government ideas, wouldn't it? Going into the food court like that, if it really was about health. Did I just say that out loud? Love Phoenix also, biker capital of the world, says Andy, and I do love a beaming. What is he talking? Oh, he likes being beamed up. Okay, Bitcoin down. Now they say buy. What do you Gumpers think? Okay, no financial advice here, but yeah, I mean that would appear to be the trend from people's actual experience, right? You see, it's funny with Bitcoin, isn't it? People want it both ways, don't they? It's like, oh, I wish I'd bought Bitcoin, and it's too expensive now. It's not worth getting into. I'll never make the big gains. Then the price goes down, giving people the chance to buy it, anticipating another rise. You never know, but it seems to be that's the cycle. It seems to go down and then up again after it's gone down, as things do when it comes to it's not. I suppose it is called cryptocurrency, isn't it? But not currency as we know it. But anyway, people, I think people want an excuse, don't they? It's too expensive. Oh no, it's crashed. We could buy it now. Oh no, I don't think so, because it might crash again. So either way, the risk averse are covered. But I would say, if you are open to a risk and you can afford it, and it's the advice I would give to myself, not anyone else, is while it's down, buy, because it looks like its greatest advocates think it's nothing compared to what it's going to be. That's what I think. What do other Gumpers think? Good morning from Nick Bradley from Sydney, Australia. Hoping and patiently waiting to be out there next year, all pending my Bitcoin. So Nick Bradley might have something to say to you, OLP, on that. I love the Sedona and the Grand Canyon area. I'd love to go to Sedona. I hear so many lovely things about Sedona, OLP. She immediately got down to... Oh, hold on. She immediately got down to business and was assertive but gentle. He was surprised at how quickly they had completed the deed. Seemed only like moments. Hold on. But nonetheless, it was a full 15 minutes before he was able to leave the vaccination center. Very good, based on a true story there. Although we do need a disclaimer, don't we, that this story is not based on any real events or persons. 4.5 million people quit their jobs in November. This is what I thought. This is what I saw. So I'm not entirely sure. I mean, that said, it's like these government statistics can often be, isn't it? Is that full employment might not be exactly what that seems to suggest if you take it literally. This is the world of economics, isn't it? Where's Kate when you need her? Where's Kate Gimblett? She hasn't been back, has she, since she accused us as being part of the culture wars? Unless she's tuned in now, and we'll pipe up at the mention of her name and that comment. Okay, let's have a very quick look at the news then in the time that we have remaining before Jenni B joins us. And there's a lot going on at the Portugal News and the Portugal Resident, those English speaking Portuguese news websites. And I was looking at the Portugal Resident first because quite a few things grabbed my eye. Absence of specific vaccines. This is Natasha Don writing on the 4th of January, just a couple of days ago then. And let me get that comment off the screen so you can see what's going on. And yes, what grabbed my eye, what was it? Accepting that from this month, quote, the pandemic is moving to a terminal and endemic phase, similar to that of seasonal flu. Quote, they propose a series of measures. I should say who this is, shouldn't I? Ahead of the COVID status report, meeting scheduled for tomorrow at Infomed. So that's already happened. I wonder what they did about this. We might find out. A specialist at the General Medical Council, the Ordem dos Médicos, and IST, Superior Technical Institute of Lisbon, have laid out what they believe Portugal needs in 2022. Okay, so listen to the scientists. Maybe. They propose a series of measures, not least the reinforcement of means necessary. And this is where I get really excited when I read something like the pandemic is moving into terminal and endemic phase. And then a sentence like this comes up when I think, can someone translate this for me? Not least the reinforcement of means necessary to assure the capacity of response in opportune time. What? Of all branches of the health service, including the beleaguered SNS 24 hotline, which has become so hot, it has essentially melted. That's Natasha Don's excellent writing there. One of the key requirements of an open letter. So these aren't government advisors. They are independent scientists, aren't they? So in the open letter published this week is that data relative to hospital patients and those that have died are published in a regular and transparent way. This is something that has been markedly lacking for months. In the early stages of the pandemic, it was possible to gauge the ages of those infected and of those who had died. Now, none of this is clear, they say. What's going on? Okay, but that's interesting, isn't it? Portugal Resident, you can find that. And I know that when the C word is mentioned, it can do things to people. But let's move on, shall we, for the time being. You can go and peruse that at your leisure. A tragic berry farmer takes up new hunger strike, this time in the garden of the Prime Minister's official residence. Now, that is non-violent action, isn't it? That this gentleman, Luis Diaz, is trying, yet again, trying to win justice for the destruction of his agricultural project in 2 devastating storms over 4 years. So complaining that the government has not been helping him in a way that he would like. Profoundly deaf man who was hospitalized 3 times when he staged a hunger strike outside Belém Palace last summer is planning a rerun, this time outside the official residence of Prime Minister Antonio Costa, who gave him a pretty wide berth, I think, last time. I mean, on the one hand, I do understand how a prime minister probably can't attend to every single request upon his attention. And that's why he has a team and that's why he has a government to take care of such things. But you would hope, wouldn't you, that a gentleman so moved to take such drastic action and be part of the lifeblood. I'm assuming I'm making a lot of assumptions here, but the agricultural soul of Portugal, you would hope, wouldn't you? And you would hope that the EU might as well be part of supporting compensating somebody who's had such a difficult time in growing food for the country, essentially, and for export. So there we go. That is that gentleman there. Let's take a very quick look at the Portugal news as well. I'll just take that off the screen. Actually, no, I'm going to do a very quick scan of the news stuff, the news stories. Jenni B limbering up now. I'm just getting the yogurt pot in place, presumably in case she gets too excited. We'll go from the ridiculous to the sublime in just a moment and have Jenni join us. But I'll just skim the headlines here of the Portugal Resident and skim the headlines of the Portugal news as well. And then we'll go completely feel good. I like the cut of this jib of this story here. Portuguese shoemaking sector invests 140 million euros to become international leader in sustainable solutions. I mean, you could say that shoemaking is the soul of Portuguese industry, if you wanted to make such a bad dad joke. Bars and discos remain closed. Teleworking continues. The Council of Ministers throttles back slowly. That's a mixed metaphor, isn't it? Throttling back slowly. Almost 2 months okay. I think, headline writers do this on purpose, so you have to think about it. They write them in an awkward way, don't they? And you think, hold on, what does that really mean? Almost 2 months on, no one has claimed 400,000 euros found in an old stone wall. The perennial question, what would you do if you found 400,000 euros in a stone wall? Cyber attack, insurance companies expect spike in interest following the Empresa hack. So there was a hack on the Empresa site here in Portugal recently. And Algarve hospitals teeming with non-COVID-19 patients. They're not sunburnt this time of year, are they? Not Brits going into the emergency room to be rehydrated. But they're welcoming 182 medical interns. Where did they all suddenly come from? And researchers identified 2 species of whales never recorded in the Algarve. Interesting stuff. Restaurants desperate for financial compensation, as you can imagine. Cine clubs pushing for relaxation on obligatory tests. And what happened in the cinemas? What was all that furore, kerfuffle about the cinema listings being taken down and nothing being published from the 6th of January? Vaccinations exclusively for children and school community begin today, apparently. These are yesterday's headlines. Freedoms should gradually be restored, say experts. And on that note, let's go to the Portugal news very quickly. Sorry about this, Jenni. We'll bring you on in just a mo. But it's not a problem. She will be sitting there saying, peace begins with me. Peace begins with me. She's meditating in the background there. And if I found 400K, I'd... okay, yeah, there's one. That's one way of doing it. Portugal news then, very, very briefly. Let's building the dramatic tension until the arrival of the Jenni B this morning. Hopes, look at this. On the call last night, Anna in Cascais was talking about the free. I didn't know about the free public transport in Cascais, but look at this. Hopes for free public transport passes in Lisbon for some, the elderly and students up to the age of 23 in force this year. So that's cool, isn't it? The Algarve Hospital story there, article, 182 new interns. That should be good, shouldn't it? Teleworking, everybody, continuing until the 14th of... I need to speak to one of those 182 interns, possibly. Teleworking mandatory until the 14th of January, just so you know. That's what I'm doing, as you can see, working from home and teleworking. Authorities warn of strong sea disturbance this coming weekend, so watch out for that. If you are getting your feet wet by the sea, be very careful with the Atlantic. And exemption from testing for those with booster shots, another headline there from the Portugal news. And what else of interest? Anything? Oh, toll payment confusion. There's nothing new in that. And I think we're going to leave it there. But lots of COVID stuff in the Portugal news if you need to catch up with that. Excellent. And let us now remove the news from the screen and bring that ray of hope to humanity. That is Jenni B from Holy Healthy. How are you? Feliz Ano Novo, minha amiga.
Feliz Ano Novo a todos. Obrigadinho.
Look at you.
Look
So
at
how are you? You have a nice Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was really nice. I just thought about it this morning because I caught up with my primary school best friend on Christmas. It was really funny. and I haven't seen her, her mum, or her sister for about 10 years. And last time we've been there, and this is how we started the call. I said, remember last time we were in your kitchen, exactly where you are now, and said, but it's not going to take 10 years until we see each other again. And guess how long that's ago?
Is it 10 years by any chance? We always do that, us human beings, don't we? Let's not leave
It's
it so
there.
long. Yeah, yeah.
No, no. And also what was really nice, remember the last show in last year, we have been complimenting us so lovingly and had all the comments from our audience as well. And that's so beautiful. And just a couple of days ago, I received a message from a person I not have too much contact with, but he was just saying something really nice. He was just saying, I'm not rambling. I'd just like to say that because I think particularly our species could do with a bit more sharing gratitude. And I was like, yes,
Oh, how lovely. How lovely. But I'm
yes.
sure you're always happy to hear from people. And we'll make sure that your contact details, your email address will be on the screen at some point during our conversation. It'll be a nice leisurely one. And I have set it up a little bit, Jenni B, this morning with this rather wonderful meme. Look at this.
Yeah.
There's a lady drinking the green juice on the 1st, and by January the 5th, she's swigging red wine straight out the bottle. Now, people who do New Year's resolutions can relate to this, can't they? Because I think the failure is almost built into resolutions, isn't it? Because it's often something you think you should do, and when you should on yourself like that, it doesn't often end well, does it? Because it's not very inspiring, is it? Or it's not very positive. It's like, oh, I suppose I should be doing this, and you're standing over yourself with a stick on you. And who wants to respond to that except for the sadomasochistic people in our community? And I understand between you and me, there's quite a few of them, but it's not a very sustainable way of bringing about positive change in one's life, is it?
No. And you know what? It's really interesting. I just thought about it because exactly like you say, New Year is like the time for, how
Yeah,
do you call them? Resolutions, like
yeah,
things you
the new,
want to make different.
yeah.
And it's interesting because actually, why do we need the start of a new year for that? That's the first question I have. It's like,
Well
and
said.
it's like, and the lady on the picture who has the bottle of wine on the 5th right away, she's probably thinking, well, I'll try it again next year.
Yeah. What the hell? Pull the cork, swig it out. Oh, that feels better. And that's
Ah,
why as well, isn't it? We are so addicted or attracted to things that make us feel good, and why we
yeah.
like the wine. I mean, that first bit, there's no question, is there? I suppose this is the side of addictions that people don't like to talk about. But I think in the grown-up conversation about things we're addicted to, in the first case, we do it because it feels good, right? And guess what? Human beings like feeling good, don't they? Shock horror.
Newsflash.
So might we not build our future on feeling good? Would that be a reasonable thing? Go more to the carrot than the stick, possibly. Although carrots don't feel good, do they? Although that's another line
You
from the
never
book.
know.
You never know,
Probably.
do you?
Yeah.
But I mean, you might find yourself in this position with the work you do. Someone, I
Of
mean,
course.
fair enough. You could start your change at any time of the year. So that's a very good first question for you. It doesn't have to be the 1st of January, but it seems to be the custom. It seems to be in our culture, doesn't it? Now is a good time to turn over a new leaf. Should old acquaintance
Mm.
be forgot, etc., etc. So someone comes to you at this time of year and says, "Look, Jenni, I really want to change this about my life." Whatever it might be. Often, similar themes in people's lives. It might be to do with money and work. It might be to do with relationship. It might be to do with changing lifestyle. And that's a big one, isn't it? Obviously, for people moving to Portugal, the change in lifestyle. How do you prepare the ground when you're talking to people on this basis for positive and sustainable change?
It's lovely that you say that. And there's quite a couple of things I'd like to say in that regard. Because first, of course, I think we can all relate to that. There's always, I think in everybody's life, there has been things that you kind of felt exactly, it's not probably not the best thing to do. If you haven't felt it yourself, maybe there was a lot of outside pressure who kept telling, no, no,
Yes,
no, no,
indeed.
no, that's not good,
Yeah.
that's not good. So on that sense, the first thing you should always ask yourself is, do you really want that change?
Ah,
Or is it somebody else who actually wants that change? And why do you want that change? Do you want that change because you think somebody's expecting that of you? Somebody particularly, the whole society, the whole world, whatever? Or is that really something that you want? Is that something that if you wouldn't want to do it, if you wouldn't do it, is it something you would regret?
Yes, 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 indeed. I like that a lot. Or is it one of the voices in our head speaking? Because we all have them, don't we?
Yeah.
And I remember the phrase that comes to mind is "Look who's talking." I don't know
Hmm.
if you have this all over the world, but it'd be like, "Oh, look who's talking," as a call out on I think sometimes hypocrisy. Um, but that's another possible question, isn't it? Is like to look inside at who's talking and
Yeah.
what program might be running, and it might be just a sort of parental thing that's been carried on, something you that made a deep impact on you when you were 5 years of age. That you still, that's still the software program is still
Yeah.
running. So is that
Yeah.
what's behind your question? It's like to really check and see if you can own that for yourself right now in this time of your life, or if it's just some finger wagging comment from back in the day.
Mm. And then, I mean, that's not going to make it disappear, even if you're aware that this is just a finger wagging tail. Then
Yes.
how you gonna deal with that? So it's really interesting because exactly what you were saying before with the addiction,
Yeah.
any form of addiction, and that could be mobile phones, that can be shopping, that does not necessarily is related to any substance. That's
Yeah.
what a lot of people get wrong.
Go on.
Um,
Repeat that. Repeat that.
an addiction is not necessarily related to a substance. That's what a lot of people get wrong. It can also be addictive behavior, like cleaning
Yes.
your hands over and over and over again. Can be I need to go shopping every day,
Yeah.
online or offline, doesn't really matter. Does
Yes.
mean okay, at least every, I don't know, twice a day I need to check my likes or whatever. Anything, can be anything. And I love I love Dr. Gabriel Marte's
Oh yes.
definition of addiction, where he says that it is basically any form of behavior that gives us this feel good feeling on a short term basis, where we know exactly on the long run we will have negative consequences from it, but we're still doing it.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's also something really human because as humans, we only think for the short term consequences. That's why we have the cigarette, and in that moment, it's like, ah. That's
Yeah. Yeah.
why we check the likes, and in the moment, it's like, ah. But you know exactly that half an hour
That's,
later,
exact-
5 minutes later,
that's exactly what I do when I check my likes. How did you know that?
I know that.
Oh, you've been watching me. Cover that camera up. Oh my goodness. Yep, so true. And he is an amazing man, isn't he, Gabor Mate?
Oh
As
my
well,
God, he's
this is
amazing.
2 days running he's been mentioned, but he really is down to earth, and I think really helps people understand in a very common sense way the effect of the past,
Yeah.
not
And
only
I
not
mean,
only on our present, but on our future as well. Sorry, go on.
no, no, sorry. For everyone who is interested in something like that, there's a wonderful, wonderful film, and it's for free. It's called The Wisdom of Trauma. I believe you can get it on YouTube, and it is from Dr. Gabor Mate, and it speaks about the impacts of childhood trauma, which we still have in our everyday's life. We have just said it. It might be just a program still from your 5-year-old that has been hurt that's still running. And we actually had two really big shows about that when we talked about the inner child. And you know, there's different ways to phrase it, but that's the term I like to use because I think it's tangible for everyone.
Yes.
And if we're really honest to ourselves, you know, that's nothing that I would go into the tram in Lisbon and say, oh, by the way, I'm still hurt from that, and this is what drives me. You know, nothing, nobody's doing that, and nobody's expecting that of you. But it is this, yeah, and they will see anyway. But it's that first and foremost, it's that being honest towards yourself and allow yourself to be heard. It's, you know, in our society, it's still that pain, admitting pain, crying, whatever, all this is still related to weakness. Even speaking about your emotions is related to weakness. But if you really think about how much strength it takes, how much balls it takes to actually, lay open your cards and say, right, look, I'm vulnerable.
Yeah,
That
and
fucking
thank
hurt
you for
me.
saying that. I think it's always good to mention that, how brave people are who I think really do some of the deepest work in this department. And I would like to say as well, because this is a particular atmosphere that we have when you join the show. I think it's fair to say. And there are some big fans of this type of atmosphere. And there are other people who I think, oh God, those two are on the screen again talking about their emotions. Can't we just talk about the Bitcoin price, which is 31,079.22 GBP at the moment? No, I'm not picking on you there, Andy. I'm not suggesting you're like this at all, because I know you're a vulnerable fella as well, a new man for sure. But somebody might be thinking, oh, there they go again, contemplating their navels and talking about their emotions and this things about being a 5-year-old. Oh my God, honestly, I'm not 5 anymore, and I don't listen to those voices in my head. I'm a grown person. What if I find myself struggling, I just man up and carry on. But maybe that's what your dad used to say to you when you were 5 years of age. There's the thing, right? We often don't know, do we? And I've got such seriously. I think people who know me know that I have no problem with the man up and carry on approach when it's in the right place. There are times as a man where that has been given to me as advice, and it has been absolutely the right thing. But so often it's not the right thing. So often it's just yeah, shut up, get on with it, which isn't always helpful. And I think it's worth checking. And I think James, always great on this subject, says we'll come back to that. But to have a second look, and think, okay, so the man up and carry on, that is part of my programming. But am I missing something? Is that really, do I own that 100%, or is it a collaboration with a parent? And I think when you become older, it needs to be your own thing, doesn't it? It needs to be your own thing rather than just purely inherited bit of programming.
And it's really interesting because in our so-called civilized Western society, we don't actually have the time to reevaluate all that.
Yeah, indeed.
In other cultures, it's like when kids leave their nest, they usually get sent out on their own for like half a year, whatever, to check whether the beliefs that they've learned, whether they agree with that, or whether they might have their own ones. And
Yes.
this break is kind of missing in our society. Here it's like school, graduation, career, house, family. Now I'm sick.
Right. Yeah.
Now I start thinking about my life.
Oh,
Now where
yes.
my body
Yes.
dragged me down. That's
That's
when you
interesting.
usually start
Yes,
contemplating.
you're right, aren't you? And you could
Mm.
think, couldn't you, that we might consider these things at school age, which you are, of course. So how's it going? How's it going with working with the kids? Tell us.
I'll give you a brief one for that because I really like to do a full show about that in February,
Yes,
if you
very
may
welcome.
allow
Of
me.
course, absolutely.
I was thinking about doing it today, but I did consider. Yes, Abu, you're right
We'll
there.
come back to these. We'll come back to these.
Um, I did consider your wonderful wife's, Mrs. M's, advising in any project release for the beginning of the year because we're still in Venus retrograde. And as I
Oh,
don't want it to have a quick flame and then burn out, I'm like, no, no,
yeah,
no, no, no. You know what?
yes.
And I actually wanted to ask you a question. Well, on that note, just to briefly finish this off, we had the kickoff superhero action day event at my place in the
Great.
Holy Healthy headquarters, and it was just great crack. It was so much fun. It was really funny. So I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to much more, and I think the kids too. So yeah, slowly but surely, it's getting there. A little side note on that, it was interesting, a lot of learning for me as well. And particularly in the sense of theory and practice, and as usual, how far they are actually apart from each other.
Yeah. Well, we don't know, do we, until we have these practical days and experiments, and that's
Exactly.
that's being a human, isn't it? Our daily lives, you could say, are the laboratory for putting our theory into practice, right? And isn't it great that we can do that? We have the opportunity to do that. Some of us, we're so lucky in that way. Let's do a bit of catching up in the comments, and we'll come back. Any questions you've got for Jenni B's project, the Rainbow Guardians? Now, right? The correct name?
Yeah.
Rainbow Guardians, or anything else on this having an impact in 2022. That's what we're talking about. This conversation is perhaps long overdue. We're a week into the new year, but not too late, I think, to talk more in terms of intention, possibility, transformation, law of attraction, rather than standing over yourself with a stick and making yourself drink green juice, which you absolutely hate, and then just reverting to wine in a few days' time anyway. Let's see how we can really own this year. Because goodness knows that might be quite a good thing to do. So 4.5 million people quit their jobs in November in the United States. And this is another one of those. I mean, whilst that might seem like an earlier part of the show, this is a touch point that connects completely with this part of the show. There will be some introspection going on, won't there? All over the world, there will be people really, with their identity, with our so many of us with our identities in our jobs. It's a time of introspection, and I think it's good for many of the rest of us who like to talk about these subjects and offer a context for transformation to be there for people at this time. And when it comes to investment, Thunderduck always recommends DCA for any investment, the dollar cost average. Buy a little every payday. Good old-fashioned advice there. Think how much we use virtual money now and for many years, debit cards, credit cards, PayPal, etc. No paper cash, changed hands. Yeah, interesting, isn't it? And there were 4.2 million in October quitting or being quitted of their jobs, says Mike Campion as well. Good morning to you, Mike. And what is dollar cost average? You might have gone already. I think the gist of it is in being a little bit modest and practical with your investments rather than in any way risky. And I'm sorry, James, that I missed all of that. That stands for booster jab, everybody, just to be clear. The value of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other major cryptocurrencies plummeted Thursday after minutes from the Federal Reserve's latest meeting signaled a possible shift towards more aggressive action from the bank as it scales back pandemic support and moves to tackle high levels of inflation. Thank you. All over that is Andy, or Forbes is, and he's reporting from the Forbes there. Thank you anyway, Andy. OLP, don't buy all at once. Buy a little every month or every payday, says Thunderduck. Average into an investment. If you buy a lot at once, then it could drop the next day. Yeah, I think there's another. Oh, yeah, like James is saying here, don't, like gambling of any kind, don't invest more than you are able and willing to lose. And again, there's another transformation metaphor parallel in this. We'll come back to that. The jazz funk track of the day, I'm always dancing to the music. What a tune! Another song where whose renaissance was driven by popularity amongst party ravers, primarily from London's rare groove scene. Remember it well. Fantastic. Thank you, Chris. When the banks get their hands on Bitcoin, it will stabilize, as the rich need to have the handle on everything, making money. Electric cars have been around since the 70s, squashed by big oil until, yes, good point. The big three could get their fingers in the electric pie. Careful, anybody. Do not try putting your fingers in an electric pie at home this morning. Carl, please bring Mrs. M and the kids back. I'd love to hear their views of Portugal. We'll do that probably at the weekend, I would say. Cinemas are filthy and expensive. Sound like an old bloke. Andy there. I'd like to subscribe to this English paper, The Resident. You can do that. Both the Portugal News and the Portugal Resident have newsletters to update you. Finding 400,000 in a stone wall. That's called my 400,000, says Andy. Jenny, what would you do if you found 400,000 euros stashed in a stone wall? Or was it yours that they found?
No, it wasn't mine, unfortunately. But I would, in Germany, we have the saying, I would be so happy that I get a second hole in my butt. So
Well,
that's probably what I would do.
Okay. Thank you for that. A dog with two tails is another way of putting it, isn't it?
That's the English saying.
On the lovely Jenni B from Abu this morning. Quickie then on the Portugal Intel, Richard Estaval. Anyone know of a cheap and good hire company, East Algarve? I don't know if it's East Algarve, but at the airport, Zest operate, and we do a discount for our community here, for our members. Richard, try Zest. They have offices in Lisbon and in Faro. What's this? 350. This is a cinema, a fabulous cinema in Anadia. 350, €3.5, lovely and clean, great seats. Going next Friday to see Spider-Man, and he'll be running around the town after seeing Spider-Man, leaping from tree to tree, or trying to anyway. Lovely, not lovely. It's a typo and not a spelling mistake. We understood. And bon dia to you, Jenny, as well from Thunder. I say we were catching up here. New Year is arbitrary, but it's also symbolic and serves as a marker. Yeah, we're happy to go with it, aren't we? Wish I could stick around, but we're off to pick up some furniture this morning. Training, all part of the new year. A new look, perhaps picking up some furniture. I hope you're going to buy it as well, rather than just be picking it up. And they'll get fed up with that in the furniture shop. Bon fin semana todos from Thunder. Hope to see you later. Yeah, we'll see you later, mate. No shoulds, only choices. Do you want to speak on that? Shoulding on oneself. I think that's such a funny, brilliant phrase, isn't it? The power of should. It's not very powerful, is it, Jenny?
It's generally, I've just taken this little note here for myself. Inner dialogue is such an important thing. Words are so powerful, not just towards the outside, but very much in the inside, because exactly what you were saying there, our inner critic who says, you have to drink green smoothies now, whether you like it or not. It's the only way you will achieve happiness, if you drink green smoothies.
Exactly, as if.
Exactly, as if. And I think the big key in all that, I think it's not hard to change. I think the hard bit is not to change back.
Oh my word. Sorry, I'm just trying to get myself some alkaline water, which is part of my New Year's resolutions here. I've overflowed it. My cup literally overfloweth. There's a good affirmation. I'm going to take that as a good thing. There's water all over the floor now, whilst I'm trying to do two things at once. That is really seriously profound. So change isn't difficult, but what making change last is the difficult thing. Wow, that is profound. And we can all recognize that from our personal experience.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then,
go
sorry.
on. No, go on.
So all the woulda, shoulda, couldas, enjoy. All the woulda, shoulda, couldas is part of this inner dialogue, words that I absolutely try to cross out my personal dialogue. There's other things like must, have to, things like that. If you think about it, must and have to, if you think about these two, they bring up so much pressure inside of you.
Yeah.
And it's really for people who might be still in a cooperative or something, and we remember all these days, and maybe still have somewhere. It's like, oh, I got to get up, or I have to go to work. No, you don't have to, but you can go to work because you have a job. You are allowed to go to work because you have a job. You want to go to work because at the end of the day, you want that money at the end of the month to buy you things. So there's a lot of other ways to put it. But of course, the easiest to hide in the victim position. I have to, because my life is so hard.
Yes.
But honestly, that's just your perspective. And that's what I try to keep telling people. Anything in your reality is just yours. There might be a couple of common things, we all agree on, but at the end of the day, with, 2 billion people we are at the moment, it's 2 billion different perspectives and different realities. And that is fine. That's the beautiful diversity of life and human beings. But if you think about that, everything stands and falls with the belief system, then of course you can think, oh my God, if this year started like that, and if I'm on the bottle of wine already on the 5th again, how shall this year go on?
Yes.
Of course you can do that. That's up to you. But at the same time, think about, how does it make you feel? And who is asking you to think this way? No one.
Yeah.
So at the same time, you can say, ha, that's funny. Look at me. I really tried, But on day 5, I'm back on the red wine. So maybe for the next week, I shall try to make green smoothies with red wine. Maybe that's the thing.
Do you know what? That's not a bad idea. And wouldn't it be great to own it with, I mean, this is something I want to talk to you about this morning, because I'm doing a lot of work on this myself. And we have a massive cultural thing, don't we? In the culture, I think that most of us come from. If I could sort of bring us all together under that umbrella here this morning, that where we're actually toddlers when we're working out how to effectively use emotions, feelings, feel good, well-being, all of these sorts of things. I think we're quite new to culturally, and we're having a bit of a ding dong about it at the moment, and it's fascinating. It's really good. I mean, I'm not complaining about that, and it's work in progress for me. And I can see, my first attraction point to understanding how I worked emotionally was wanting to be being very attracted to Buddhist culture, where I thought if I became a Buddhist and cherry picked the things I like about Buddhism, which is not to be run by your emotions, my life would be fine, because I could just be a rational person and make good choices for the rest of my life. Now, that didn't work out terribly well, as you couldn't, as you might imagine. And it's been a lifelong thing, but clearly, that would be an emotional response, wouldn't it? Lying in bed as a victim, like, oh, I don't want to go to work. Why must I go to work? That's like an emotional reaction, I think. And let's not get too hung up in the terminology. But there's another part to it, isn't it, when it comes to emotions, feelings, or the emotional scale? And we touched on this briefly yesterday. Now, there's a different part of the emotional scale, or a different emotional reference you can have when it comes to green smoothies, wine, and getting out of bed, which is to supercharge it with good feeling. I think that's what you're talking about, right? So to think about what feels good about getting out of bed rather than lying there feeling bad. And I think this is where so much of the action is for human beings. And then the problem is this cultural value, or it's not much of a value, this cultural undervalue that like feeling good is quite a shallow thing, that you're back in your emotions again. And there they go. You know, people who say life should be fun. Well, they haven't walked 100 miles in my moccasins, etc. But do you think that's where we're at culturally, that we're considering this idea that, wait, hold on a minute, maybe feeling good is okay, and maybe an aspiration to feel good quite a lot of the time is okay and not a bad thing, and it's not selfish. And when we don't feel good, that's a little cue to us to take a little look. It's all like a biofeedback system, and there's nothing subjectively right or wrong with it. It's actually quite rational and objective, isn't it, when you think about it? Because the good feelings make great things happen, and the bad feelings help us get back into feeling good again. That would be quite a good loop, but we're not very good at it, are we, at the moment? I don't think.
Well, I think what's happening at the moment is that because of the last 2 years, where a lot of people were more or less forced to spend time with themselves, that exactly this happened. There was a lot of introspection, there was a lot of contemplation, and there was a lot of, is that really how I imagine my life? Does it
Yeah.
really need to be like this?
Yes.
And then, of course, you can choose. And like
Yeah.
you said, it is a transition. It is a lot of steps. It's not just happening like this. You not just go like, you know what, I decide to be happy from now on, and then you're just happy from now on.
No, that's right.
And why that is, I also like to speak about about that with you, because I think it's really, really important. I see so many people struggling who really do so much, but it's just happening on that mental level, and that is not going to get you anywhere. It's just going to get you that far, and that might
Yeah.
already feel like a big change, but there's more. There's still more. And what you said there with that allowance for joy in more than just a moment, I think this is part of that whole switch in how do I want my life? What do I picture how life shall be? And I think we all grew up with that sayings, life is hard, no pain, no gain, life is a bitch, no, you need to uh yeah, it's not worth it, until you earned it, and the whole lot. It's like,
Yes.
what, really? I mean, that's so. And but don't forget, these people come from after war generations. That's a
Yeah.
complete different story. And
Yeah.
these have been then our parents, not particularly the ones who came straight after war, but they got that from their parents, so they passed it on to us and the whole lot. And now we are in a society with, hmm, supposedly so much freedom.
Yes, indeed.
Um, but that's the thing. What I'd like everybody to think about, it's this freedom which they still sell us is in the outside. If you have certain products, attributes, a certain amount of money, bitcoins, whatever.
Yeah.
But if you really, really think about, and I invite you now to think about one moment, whenever in your life, where you have just been feeling so sane, nearly weightless.
Yes.
You've just been. And this is actually how it can be. This is our birthright to be happy. But
Yeah.
of course, in a society where everything is focused on the outside for the system to be able to run, we forget all that because we search it there and there and there and there. But if you think back onto that moment, all you needed was here.
Absolutely right, and that's our
And
sovereignty, isn't it? That is our choice
yes,
in every moment, and I think James is saying this. That is the choice we have in every moment. We
every
can
moment.
choose how we feel, and if we don't like how we feel, we can do something about it on that inside level. That's the conversation. I think that nails it as a possibility for how we might approach 2022. What you can do as an inside job, where outside there are so many dependencies, aren't there, and variables
Mm.
that are outside our control, increasingly so, you might say, um, even for the greatest tennis players in the world, for example. So, and
And
go on.
that's the thing. What we also keep on forgetting. We keep on getting told, I don't know, you're married, and then make sure your wife is the queen. I'm not saying anything against that, but make sure that you are the king first,
Yeah,
because it's not in so many relationships and it's easy. It's very seducing. I think the word is. You see, of course, all the flaws in the others. You see it all, and it's so easy to help them. But
yeah.
what you actually see is all your parts. So when one finger is pointing out, three are pointing back.
Stop
So,
it.
and that's, yeah,
No,
sorry,
it's
you know
it's the
me.
others. It's the others. It's the others. It's not me. It's never me.
Yeah,
Um,
of
and,
course not.
and here's the other thing. The two hippies are on Feelgood Friday, the first Friday of every month. We're not saying all is well in the world. Quite the
Oh,
opposite.
no.
I think what we're saying here. I think, if I may speak for us both, and obviously you may wish to add to this, Jenny, is that a lot of the world is really terrible. There's no question about that. The outside circumstance, the behavior of human beings to each other and to the planet. We're not defending or Pollyannaing that. It's grim in so many places, has been, probably will be, and is right now terrible in so many places. But what's at stake here is the internal choice point and our personal perception, and that's the bit we can work on, and that's the bit we're inviting people to work on a Feel Good Friday, right?
Yeah. And exactly what you said. There is, and there always will be, so much shit going on because we're still human beings,
Another
and
way
we
of putting
still
it.
and we still like to play with the duality. We still like to play with others. We still like to play with our aspects. The whole lot. This will always happen. But the
Yeah.
thing is, what you focus on. What is it? What you focus on? Do you focus on the negative, on the destruction, on the death, on all that, or do you focus on the positives, on the opportunities, on the little bits of hope that can be found, on the actually massive changes that are happening on these individual levels, and they keep finding each other.
Yeah.
I really like to use the internet as a great example. The internet, there's really, oh my God, there is so much. Everybody can write anything they want. There's nobody who's actually controlling that. if it's false or not. So I can write, if you take whatever acid now is really great for your stomach and we will solve all your problems. It's a present from God, blah, blah, blah. And I can make a web page writing this.
I've seen that
And
web page.
yeah, I know. There is one actually. There is one. But not for me. But the thing is, we can focus on that. But also the internet gives us the great opportunity for us to be here together now, Carl, for other people all over the world to listen to us and share their stuff, their comments, their love, everything with us. There's the opportunity to spread a little information really quick all over the world and all these things. So again, it is where you focus on what you believe in also. When you believe that life is hard, life will be hard. When you believe that you can't do it, you're not going to do it.
Yeah.
Your soul has infinite potential. And you will always get as much of that potential as you believe in. But it's all there at the end of the day. And I'm not saying that, Carl, you or me are super wise or enlightened and we have it all. I'm not saying that. And everybody who is pretending to do so in that spiritual realms, yeah, nice try. You wish. But at the end of the day, we still remain human.
Indeed.
I'm still going to be in this physical body, and it simply can't fly. I've tried it. It doesn't work. There's gravity, and it's pulling me back down. Now, if I would detach myself from the whole world, go into a cave in the mountain for 30 years and just meditate, I might be able to start flying because I've changed my whole belief system so much. But that's not reality. We all live amongst each other. We all still have a life going on with kids, with work, with cleaning, with needing to do bureaucratical stuff, all that. So let's be easy on ourselves, lower our expectations on ourselves.
Yes,
and
that's what I want to add here, you see, because this relates to Thunder Duck's investment advice. Because somebody might be listening to you and saying, yes, I'm all in. Fantastic. I'm going to get rid of all my stuff. I'm going to move to Portugal, get rid of all my stuff and only read the works of the Dalai Lama every day and then I'll be happy. And that's a bit like putting all your money into Bitcoin, isn't it? This, as well as making that constant and proactive transformational choice, we need to take this steady, don't we? We need to, I don't know. You strike me as somebody who might have gone to extremes, not unlike myself in the past, of giving everything away or doing crazy spiritual stuff to try and get a quick result. It doesn't happen quickly necessarily, and we need to give ourselves the time to cultivate these habits, don't we? And attitudes, like we would if we were doing any kind of training.
Yeah, it's very well said. That would have been the next thing I wanted to say. It's really make it little steps. Baby steps, actually. Because, it's like, and you might even find out it's nothing for you. See it as this trial. Nothing is for definite. If you choose to use a blue pen today, you can still use a black one tomorrow or in the next moment. It doesn't mean that it is forever and ever now, just this blue pen and nothing ever else again.
Well, that's part of the setup problem, isn't it? Okay, it's January the 1st. I'm going to be vegan, or I'm going to have a dry January. These very extreme things are very high risk as well, aren't they? So
usually, it's funny, Carl, that you say, because usually you go for the whole other extreme. That's like completely not you. Yeah. And you really want this radical change. And then you might not even feel good, all this feeling good that you thought you will get through this. And all of a sudden you feel like shit. Yeah, of course. Because you take your running system something away that it really depends on, obviously. Otherwise, you wouldn't need it so much.
Yeah. Be careful with that, folks. It's slow and steady wins the race.
Yes.
In this department. Bom dia, alegria a todos from the car. On my way to Castelo Branco this morning is Matty. Shout out.
Matty.
It's so good to have Matty in the country at some level. Yes. Oh, I tried some of your German biscuits and some of the Dutch syrup waffles. Fantastic. That's a nice part of German Christmas, isn't it? The old marzipan-y type dense chocolate bicky. At some level, life is just an endless series of choices, one after another, and on we go. And it is, as well as the unbearable lightness of being, which I think you referred to earlier on, and that lovely joyous freedom that we can experience from time to time, there is the daily grind, isn't there? And we that is, this is why I say, I think, and insert the deity of your choice here, but I think this is why God, the universe, loves us, because there is a recognition that it is quite hard being a human being. Mag Rasmussen, God morning, good morning from hey up, Mags. Happy New Year. These are the main questions. Do people really want to change, or is it just a New Year habit? Okay. Notice, choose, act. That's nicely put. Thank you for that, James. Yeah, the active choice, taking the time to notice, and those are great foundations, aren't they, for your future actions rather than just robotic or programmed activity.
Those two those two just really summed it up nicely together, because so often we act and decide only out of our habit. If it comes to, let's say, food, for example, how often do you actually take the time and think, okay, what is it that I feel that I need right now, that my body needs right now? And how often do you just go to the fridge and think, right, what's left over, what does need to go, what's easy, what's quick? All right, right. Actually, I'm over it. Give me just chocolate. That's fine. I'll just have that.
The thought process of many people right there. And a really good illustration here. I don't have a coffee. I want one. I'm making one. There you go. Take a moment, Andy. Do you really want that coffee? And if you do, enjoy it, my friend.
Exactly, but that's the thing.
Yes.
Take the decision half sort of consciously, and if it is that you want the cigarette, that you want whatever you think is not good for you, make your peace with it. It doesn't mean, of course, 3 liters of wine, 1 liter of wine every day is not good for anyone. But that one glass on a Sunday lunch with your beloved ones, that doesn't matter. That's fine.
It's good for the supermarket, but yeah, you're right. My future relocation to Portugal is also dependent on Bitcoin, so I'm holding on for dear life. Hodl there, Brian. I think, well, just a personal opinion, I think you're going to be fine. And I love to hear that people are embracing the cryptocurrency, the blockchain philosophy, and that their future in Portugal could work out on that basis. Fantastic, Brian. Keep us informed if you will. I know a lot of you crypto folks are very private. You might not want to, but be so lovely to hear stories of people embracing the new technology and building their new lives on it here in Portugal. Another late tune in for me. Now, there's somebody who probably was having a good time lying in bed, not giving themselves a hard time. Suze with us now, though. Good morning, all. Is this Trigger-Free Friday with Jenny? Hope so. Well, what's being referred to there is the trigger alert. It's going to happen now. Watch out! Yeah, trigger alert. This has been coming up, Jenny, and on that basis, I'm very happy because this could be a bit of a lovey love fest, hippie dojo thing that we've got here. Anyone who's listening to us and thinking, oh my God, these people really grind my gears. We're happy to talk to people who feel like that, aren't we? In fact, it's a really good conversation to have, and there are two parts to it as far as I'm concerned. If you're having a really bad time watching, the first thing might be to not watch, which is good, and I would recommend and commend that based on your well-being and health. And then there's the other bit, isn't there, which is the fascination us human beings have. It's like, this is really winding me up, and I can't stop watching. And in that lies a little bit of something. And because I find myself in that situation, and I want to know why. I want to, why on earth would I watch the Jeffrey Epstein documentary? So I stayed with that. I just had to fast forward it to see him getting his just desserts in the end. But I didn't watch the whole thing. I thought, okay, I just want to see the bit where he dies. Quite honestly, that's not very peace and love, is it? But this thing, the point I'm making is about how we're sometimes triggered and attracted, and I think therein lies something useful for us in there. So this is not the trigger-free zone. I suspect. I imagine there might be a lot of triggering going on with some of the things that get said on the seemingly inoffensive Feelgood Friday. People owning their addictions here. I have an addiction. It's called Good Morning Portugal. Bless you, Abu. Help is at hand. According to the science shown in the film, what the bleep, humans are addicted to emotions. Well, that would appear to be the case, wouldn't it? And again, I suppose consciousness, perception is the key to the appropriate management and relationship to those things that we're addicted to. Bon dia, Carl, Jenny, and everyone. Michelle, good morning to you. Fantastic. Great to have you here. Lots of comments to catch up on. Working on your inner child with your therapist is the key to resolving many mental issues. It helped me a lot. I'm so glad to hear that. And I'm so glad you're happy to share that as well, Abu, to encourage others. It doesn't hurt me. Nothing outside of me has that power. I choose consciously or unconsciously to react with hurt feelings. And that's a big step for humanity, isn't it? To own that. It really is a big step. And that's a possible trigger alert for some people who understandably feel hurt by other people. But that's a big step to embrace that, James. Thank you for sharing that. Bon dia, Andy, from Antonio F is here, everybody. Pam's here. Bon dia. Thanks, Pam, for your wonderful input last night on the Ask Our Expats session, first Thursday of every month. My issue with man up is the implication that a strong, assertive get on with it is a man response. It's sexist and it suggests that women are not these things. And if we do not behave this way, we are being weak like a woman, which is wrong way to be behaving. Yeah, I understand that, but I'm happy to say man up to a woman occasionally as well. But I totally, if it's the right thing to do, and we only know if it's the right thing to do by staying open in the conversation, right, James? This is an important part, isn't it, Jenny, of what we're talking about today, is keeping the conversation open. We're not saying like, okay, you've had the advice, now bugger off and do it. Part of this is to keep the conversation open and to people to share what they find on this journey, right?
Yeah, and I think that's one of the hardest things then for oneself to be as open towards yourself and really, admit, all right, this might have not been a really good idea in hindsight, but that's why hindsight is so beautiful, because we can learn from it so well. And we're so hard on us all the time. And I'm really an expert in that, but I think we all are, as being so critical towards ourselves. And it's never enough. And there's still more. And you could have done better. And there's the coulda, woulda, shouldas again. And all that. I call it Elfriede. Elfriede is sitting here on my shoulder.
Oh.
And Elfriede is my mind speaking. And really, sometimes you just need to like flick it off, because I don't want to hear that bullshit FM anymore. It's like, okay, and that's what I like people to understand. All of these voices, all of these aspects, all of these inner critics, they have all been there for a reason. They had their time and they were absolutely necessary for you to survive.
Yes.
That's why before you flick them off, give them a high five, cuddle them and tell them, oh my God, I'm so grateful for you. You've done an ace job. Without you, I wouldn't be here, and I've learned so much. But you know what? You can chill now. You can really relax, because I'm grown up now and I'd like to try differently. I'd like to try other things. And I know you're there in the case of emergency. I can always count on you and ask for your opinion. But your opinion does not necessarily mean that this is the truth and there is no other way.
Yeah.
And so often, sorry.
So some people, some things in our lives do need the high five, which turns into a shove off. So you do the high five first, and you go, okay, and then you follow through with it. Okay, go push right through. So the acknowledgement and the gratitude, and then just keep it going, and off you go for a while. I've got this. Thank you very much. And if I need, like you say, Jenny, if I need your advice, I'll come back to you, because they're always there, not going anywhere, are they?
No. And that's the other thing. Which we all fighting this, but there's no point in it. Oh my God, I've been fighting this so long and so rah.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's that one relationship you can't get rid of. It's there anyway. So make sure you kind of get along well, that you're not like, oh no, God, you're alone and thinking, oh no, I don't really like to hang out with her again. Oh no, is there not anything else I can do? Oh no. Ooh.
Is it called Elfriede? Is that a German name, Elfriede?
Elfriede, yeah.
Okay. All right, Suze, I told a new therapist that I had examined a lot of my life, but felt there was something else. We did a prenatal EMDR session. My life before had some trauma. Fascinating and so helpful. Thank you for that insight and recommendation.
Suze. Yeah,
Suze.
something I wanted to pick up on today. I wanted to
Yeah,
ask you something, Carl,
go on.
and everybody here.
Yes.
See, the thing is, you know that saying that you can see through the eyes into the soul of a person, that they're like the windows to the soul.
Yes.
Now, I want to ask you, how come that's like that, even though our entire eyeball on a biological cellular level is completely renewed every 48 hours?
What?
Yes, that's the fact. I mean, if you have any surgery on your eye, you might have noticed people get like the pirate on for 2 days and then they take it off because then your eye is completely renewed.
Yeah.
So, but if you think about it, that every 2 days you got entirely brand new eyes. How come you can still, with every sort of brand new eyeballs, you can still have that window towards the soul?
Ooh. What is persisting then, I wonder, in that?
Yeah. And that's what I like to talk to you about. And that's what Susan just scratched on. Our
Ooh.
cells have a memory. And that's what a lot of people don't like to take in consideration, particularly when it comes to all that work on an internal level, working on core beliefs, working on traumata. We always work here. And then in a really good case, you even bring it down into your heart and you really feel it. But then you still might hit the wall. You still might be stuck in some certain behavioral patterns or even thinking patterns where you just don't seem to hit that last bit. And this is where your physical world comes in. And this is what so many people don't understand, that our I don't know where it is now, but people might remember the connection between the thought, then the judgment, then the feeling, and then there comes the physical reaction. And from the physical reaction, we form another thought, and then we judge this again. So it's not just our eyes, our senses who do feed the brain to make some sort of what's the word?
What, impression or
Yeah, to sum it up,
perception? Yeah, yeah.
perception, thank you, from it. But our whole entire body, this is why irrational fears, for example, if you are afraid of fluff, for example, there are people who are afraid of anything. There might be.
Don't say that. Okay, go on.
So a lot of people have irrational fears. There's like, exactly, there's no rational reason why to be afraid of fluff, but you still are, you just can't help it.
Yes.
And that must be there must have been some situation in your life where you have sort of been triggered in the fight, flight, freeze mode, but you haven't had any chance to fight or flight. You've just been frozen.
Yeah.
So the energy that has been provided of your body to get out of that situation, which you haven't, is still there somewhere.
Yes.
So it might have been, I don't know, that you have been sitting with your mom in the lavanderia, and she's opened the door from the tumble dryer, and all this fluff came out, and it was all snowing, and you just started getting itching, and then you had this rash, whatever. Okay, could have been anything. But what I want to say is, your physical body has some information around that topic stuck in its system.
And it just takes the sensory cue to get all that going.
Yes, you can't do it just on the mind level. And that's probably what Susan was doing. And that's also what I do with people. You got to get that shit out of your body. Otherwise, you will always run again.
Yes, we are more than our minds. And you could argue that's where all the trouble is in the mind, and the connection. The missing connection is this body work. Very important. And I think we're toddlers with that in our current perception.
Absolutely.
Amazing. Okay, well, here's another way of looking at the journey. James has sent this in. Very good. There's your plan, and there's your reality. That's the truth, isn't it? That's the truth. And if you can enjoy that journey, if you can find the ways to feel good along that squiggly path, that's not a bad life worth living, is it? To accept that we are squiggly and that we can cut ourselves some slack and be kind to ourselves and each other. There we go. There's our a recipe or a serving suggestion for 2022. Fantastic. Thank you for that, Suze. Enjoyed that. And what was stimulated for Jenni B there from Holly Healthy Today. We need to make sure we've got your details on the screen. Maybe you could put that in the private chat for me and I'll cut and paste that in there, Jenny. Sam Wells, buy Squint. Quant Network. Okay, Sam, another idea coming in there this morning. Call me crazy, but I'm putting a little into Pulse Chain and do a liquid loan strategy. Okay, so it's the financial suggestions coming in as well. No, darling, bit chilly this morning for the walk, so doing Zumba inside. See, adaptable, innovative. When it comes to making sure that body movement occurs. Victoria, I think, it would resonate completely with the importance of being in the body and not just being a brain on a stick. I think she understands these things. Hit that like button, gang. Thank you for that, Cindy B. Annie Jones is here, everybody, just catching a few minutes before dog training this morning. Enjoyed that, Annie. Great to see you this morning. Looking forward to seeing you soon. I really want to learn Portuguese, says Abu, but I seem to do 2 or even 4 hours a day. Or nothing for a whole week. I'm not organized and dedicated to it as I was when studying French. It's about finding the feel good, isn't it? Again, I think you sound like you're giving yourself a hard time there, Abu, already, and some other stuff has kicked in. Can you find pleasure in the Portuguese? Pleasure yourself whilst learning Portuguese. Ubi omnem, bom dia a todos, from Snowy PA. You know what I mean. Hi, Jenny. You are so wise beyond your beautiful years. Or are you in your 80s, Jenny, and just look really good?
Yeah, shit, now
Yeah.
you know.
Morning, Carl and Jenny.
Exactly.
Oh, fantastic to see you here. And next, Bradley, first time I've heard Jenni B talk. I'm going to check out that film on YouTube. That's Gabor Mate, I think, isn't it? It's all about well-being. So more so today with the global pandemic. And that's the silver lining, is it not? We are being encouraged to look within and reconsider things. So lovely to see Jenny. I often wonder where she went to. She's right here. She's back here every first Friday of the month. We're after 10 o'clock. We'll start winding it in now, folks. First time of tuning in for Jane Walker. Loving it so far. You joined us on a great day. In Cyprus during the 1974 war, the island went through partition. Families thought that it would be temporary. They hid money, buried it on the land. Years later, they returned and it was still there. How lovely. Notice I hate my job. Choose to find. When you notice that you're saying I hate my job, you can choose to find a new job. This is the illustration of the notice, choose, and act. So you notice you might be having a self-talk. I hate my job. I don't, by the way, I want to make that very clear. I'm just illustrating this example here. It's not really a job, is it? Let's face it. Choose to find a new job. Act to look and secure a new job. So we're loving that. What? Go on. You giving me a timer?
Carl, yes, because you have just talked yourself down with saying you wouldn't even call that a real job, and you do such a fabulous work there.
Okay, all right. Yeah.
For so many people, I think we need to emphasize this, that you can also give yourself heads up and tap your shoulder for the wonderful stuff you're doing, Carl, and for the addition you are for so many people. And only because it doesn't look like the average we got told how a job needs to be means you're going there in the morning, you're grumpy, you don't like it, you force yourself of staying there all the time, then you go home and at the end of the month you get a little bit of money for that.
Yes, I'm not
It's
suffering
different.
enough.
No, you're advanced. You actually have a job you like doing. How beautiful is that?
Thing. Yeah, and I'm so grateful for that. Let me tell you. And you're right. So I take it, and I add that I am utterly grateful to be in this position of doing what I love with among so many people who appear to be having a good time and feeling good here, including yourself. Every month we come and have these lovely conversations. So I'm really very lucky. So it's not a job in the old sense, in the old way we understand it. It's perhaps the new kind of job that I would hope someday everyone could enjoy. So thank you for that. Point of order, Chairman. Thank you very much indeed. Smash those likes. Infinite choices. And Abu, I checked YouTube and they have interviews about the film, but I couldn't find the documentary. It might be worth the investment, a little investment in yourself, and download the Gabor Mate movie. I was going to quit all my bad habits for the new year, but then I remembered that nobody likes a quitter. Very good. There's a childhood message. Registered at the camera yesterday. We'll get 3 documents on Wednesday. Well done, Matty. Sounds like it's going well. And that echoed there by Fiona. Morning to you, Fiona and Simon. Ubi, anyone use port brokerages? Is there a preference for keeping accounts in an old country and currency? That will have to be for someone else. I don't really understand that. Feels good getting out of bed early so that I can be calm and watch Good Morning Portugal. Nice, calm, relaxed state. Fantastic. He's trying to take my advice. Oh, no. That's something else. That's the Portuguese thing, I think. Another joke from the OLP. An iPhone and a firework were arrested on New Year's Eve. One was charged and the other was let off. Ba-boom! Was that out of a cracker? Watched Graham Norton, US stars, laughing at Hugh Bonneville talking about his Wookiee jumper. It's funny to me too. Made me think, is sweater funny or gross to the Brits? There's just something a bit, I don't know, there's something a little bit... where sweaters are looked down upon. Wookiee, I'm not sure. Is that a Star Wars reference or is it something else? But sometimes people who wear jumpers are thought of as a little bit too relaxed. I think it's something to do with the British work ethic, that they should have a shirt and tie on. A woolly jumper. A woolly jumper. Well, make your mind up. Do you want woolly or do you want willy this morning, Suze? A jumper made from wool. A willy warmer. Look, oh, come on, everybody. Pull yourselves together. Man up. I chose to stay up until 12:30 in the morning PST and be happy watching Good Morning Portugal. Thank you, OLP. We'll let you get to bed soon, real soon. I'll have peeps late today. I hope you all have a great weekend. Hey up, Rebel Mama. Great to have you here. And Bearders is here as well. Knowledge is knowing a tomato is a fruit, and the wisdom is knowing not to put one in a fruit salad. So much wisdom around us this morning, Jenny. We don't have much to complain about. Wisdom for my son is not eating tomatoes. We don't have much to complain about being European. Religious freedoms, money, safety, food, drink, democracy, wine, sanitation. What have the Europeans ever done for us? Education, roads, law, public order, pubic health as well, I think he's saying at the end there. The aqueduct as well. And total agreement there from Abu. Art, and more creativity. Cooking, beautiful way to relax. We've got a little bit of a cooking end to the show for you. Express, learn, participate, appreciate, share, enjoy, bring people together, and just be. Om Shanti, namaste to that. Amen to that, says Cindy as well. We all have those blind spots. The scary thing are those wearing blinders, narrowing this perspective. We can only just be encouraging, can't we? Hi, only just logging in. I think I missed you. I know we're still here, Elaine, 5 hours later. Ubi, I like to be extreme in all my moderation. Yes, well, if it works for you and you feel good, why not? I believe that I'll be able to move to Portugal in spite of my chronic back pain, and I found serenity to help me. Yes, we're on moving baby steps in the right direction, and the steps that feel good. Abu, we're here for you, mate. Abel's here as well. Rebel Mama, regarding your question yesterday, yes, Scotland is a great place to hike. Best weather April onwards. If you're up for a challenge, climb Ben Nevis, but ask his permission first. The highest mountain in the UK. Oh my goodness! Another burst of comments. Are you all right for a little while longer, Jenny? Because we have a
That's
load.
fine. Before we do that, can I say something?
Yeah, please do.
Because I really wanted, I have this wonderful, wonderful Holy Healthy diary. Look,
Hold on a minute. Let me just zoom in on that. Is this your merchandise?
Yeah, but I want to give away 3 of them today in the show for the lovely community.
Oh, and they're fantastic.
They're really cool. And
Pick me.
You need to put a comment in.
All right. God.
And it also has space for daily gratitude. I'm not sure if you can see it. But it's really nice. So for everyone who has lots of appointment or just likes to be reminded on Beautiful
Oh,
inspirational quotes every month, lots of space, everything a calendar needs, and much more. I'd
well,
like to give 3 out today to the beautiful community there is. I know it's already the first week of January, but it's never too late. So, if you'd like to have a bit of holy, healthy input in your daily life for 2022, you are happy just to leave a comment here with the diary, or send me, of course, a message on Facebook or my email address, and then we'll see. If it's more than 3, I need to play fairy. And if it's just 3, you're all happy and receive one of those
go!
beautiful, beautiful books.
Fantastic. So, is that right then? On Facebook, you're Holy Healthy. And is
Yeah,
that your email address now?
yeah,
pm.me. What's that?
yeah. It's proton mail.
pm.me, Holy Healthy at pm.me for the big giveaway this morning. That's fantastic. The dogs are getting restless. Bon dia. Joining you from Porto next few weeks. I have Wi-Fi. Hey, what's Porto like? Do you like it? The books of the Dalai Lama, says Abu. Thich Nhat Hanh. And helped me a lot. Also, meditation was a great help for my depression and anxiety. Thanks for your sharing. 47 watching, only 12 likes. Shame on you. No, I didn't mean that. Click that like. Man up and click the like button. I love your channel. I'm a big fan. Most YouTubers are so young and white young and white, so white. I can't relate to them. You are doing great work. Thanks, Abu, for that. I'm sure that's a compliment. Okay, and yeah, the Dalai Lama, another mention there from Michelle and Thich Nhat Hanh as well. Have I pronounced that right? It just sounds like a nickname, Titch, doesn't it? Titch, your Buddhist teacher. I would choose to identify the behavior rather than use a gender stereotype. Be strong, courageous, assertive. I've said it too many times this morning, haven't I, James, for your liking? Stand up for yourself rather than diminishing the current behavior. Yeah, fair enough. By implying it is not manly. So a thing for you there for sure. I hear you. Sorry, girl, the Scots didn't return last night, so no intel for your hiking expedition to Rebel Mama there, who's planning a trip to the Highlands. POC and marginalized people like LGBTQIA the world over living in racist classes systems would say it doesn't hurt me, I have control, would be invalid for them. We should recognize that. I'm not going to go completely with that. I do hear what you're saying, but I can't completely invalidate that. I didn't want to leave that door open. And you were saying earlier on there, Jenny, weren't you, that the eyes are the window of the soul. I think the ears are the doors. They're actually the doorways, because you can't close them. You can't close your ears. Isn't that a funny thing? You can shut your eyes, but you can't close your ears. And that's maybe why the triggering happens. Happy, joy, fab Friday feeling from our little tribe to yours. Thank you, Fiona and Simon. And on that topic for Sam, are our memories stored in ourselves or in the cloud, ether, akashic record? Oh, Sam, you rascal, chucking that in there like that. A bit of a wacky-backy thought there. Not that I'm trying to stigmatize it in any way, but it's just one of those sort of late-night conversations, isn't it, that we could have one day. Irrational fears, I'm deathly afraid of... Seriously, what's that about? The wriggly sliminess of them? And I'm not helping by saying that, I'm sure. Thank you for sharing that with us, Ribble Mama. Karma runs over dogma. Yes, I'd watch that. Our gender training starts so young and is so powerful that it runs at the deepest, most insidious level. So I choose not to perpetuate those stereotypes. Fair enough, James. 1991 movie with Meryl Streep and Albert Brooks, Defending Your Life. Has anyone watched this? I find it a fabulous movie. Sounds good to me. One to put on the list. If you're ever stressed, play a bit of Nile Rodgers. It'll make you feel better. Everything is right in the world whenever I hear the hit maker's guitar, regardless of the song. Yes, I can hear it in my mind's ear right now, him strumming away with his special and unique style. Jenni B, do you do online courses, Zoom courses for bodywork? Thumbs up, thumbs up. Okay.
Yeah. If you want to bring the...
Sorry, go on.
That. If you want to bring my details in there again. Yeah.
There you go, Nix. Get in touch with Jenny that way. From Rebel to Abu, you sound like my kindred spirit, Islamic brother. Lol, the universal truths lie everywhere, not just in one place. Absolutely. And what a joy it is to go find them. Boys are boys, girls are girls. Gender distinction is the foundation of a civilized society. Oh, okay. Maybe it's...
I
saw what
really
you
like the beat.
yeah, I saw what you did. You turned a trigger alert into a very happy thing for yourself there. That's fantastic. Okay, how did you learn Portuguese? Is that to any of us?
Mm,
I'm a situationalist. Jenny?
não fala português muito bem.
Okay, there you go. That's what you need to know. Bon dia, Jenny B. It feels good to start the new year with you.
Thank you,
And
Lonnie.
in my personal profession, this notion does more harm than good. Okay, so that's going off in a new direction there. Possibly a conversation we'll have another time. Fabulous job, Carl. Thank you, OLP. Appreciate it. And yes, Carl, you do pretty well. Oh, bless you. Reframing is a great starting point for change. Do you know what? I would love to see the likes of Fiona and Simon and Rebel Mama. It would be great to have a conversational context in which the starting point or the basis and the context for the conversation was to get somewhere where both people could be okay with the other people's opinions, as in a commitment to the conversation, as in a contribution to world peace, whilst recognizing people's different views and positions on this. And I know as I say it, that's not an easy thing, and that is a highly contentious area, full of difficulties. But I think looking at where we could get to with that could be the making of us. If we can make it in a conversation of that kind, we would have the most amazing elixir for goodness between people. And I think that is a really good wish to have, a good intention to have. But that's just my 2 penneth on that. So you were going to say something there, Jenny?
No, it's interesting because you're absolutely right. And it kind of picks up the trigger alarm that we have as well, because usually when something triggers you, it's got something to do with yourself. That's why it's triggering you. It's a part of you that you haven't accepted in yourself yet.
Yes.
And with this conversation that you just talked about, that's beautiful. If you think about how much potential really is in there, even for oneself to grow, particularly when it's agitating you. Because then it's a beautiful sign for you that you may still look inside that to go another step further towards your inner peace. And if we take ourselves, our identification with ourselves and our thoughts, if we take that out of the conversation, then it's just growing material. That's all it is. We can learn so much from other perspectives. And it doesn't mean, again, it doesn't mean that this is right or this is wrong, that yours is right or yours is wrong. But I think for us, learning, not wanting to be righteous all the time, not wanting to be right, not wanting to be better and all that, rather allowing us to have flaws and allowing others to have their flaws, but seeing the beauty in all that and knowing, you make such a great radio show, Carl. I don't think I could do that. I'm happy to join you here. But on the other hand, you would probably not be as good in releasing body trauma out of physical bodies. But why should you? You know what I mean?
Bring it on. Let's have that battle.
Next month we swap.
The battle of the body trauma. Bring it on. I'm there. I'm not shying away from that. How very dare you? I'm triggered now. No, the option you have, isn't it? Is just like, no, actually, I'm right. You're wrong. And I'm more angry than you are about it. So shut up. Where's that taking us? Jenny is so on point. What people think a job needs to be looking like is so outdated. Yeah. She caught me with my trousers down there metaphorically on that one. And courageous work too. Thank you for that, Michelle. Yes, we believe in the values of a traditional family, and you're welcome to. Absolutely right. But I'm not sure you can claim that as an absolute truth. And wouldn't it be great to have a conversation about it rather than an entrenched position, is what I would ask to everybody. Because if you are using anger as the basis of how right you are, there might be something to look at. Carl and Jenny, hippies, perhaps, soul siblings for certain. Yay, keep on living. Hello, Uncle Krusty, good morning to you, or whatever it is for you. A late good morning to everyone. Jim White's here as well. Hey up, Jim. Oh, thought I was listening to a recorded version. Morning. Now we'll do. How can we prove we're live to you? I haven't got a copy of the morning paper that I can hold up in real time.
Wait, here. Yeah.
But it's confusing. Oh, yeah, well done. But some people will be watching the recording of this, and that will really mess them up. Morning. Now, I'm going to catch up. No, you haven't. You're right here with us now. Missed many mornings as I've been preoccupied with moving, evaluating life needs, and had no Wi-Fi. Lovely to hear and see Jenny again from Beverly. Hi, Beverly. Have a fun. I think we're going to be longer than everyone else if we're not careful. We are 20 minutes overdue to finish here. Have a fun Thursday, everyone. What?
It's
Okay.
just for confusion.
It's actually Friday. That's not going to help on the recorded version either, Cindy B. What are you doing? You're winding us up. She's winding us up here. And we've got some other pictures. I've got pictures to put in. We've got a conversation to conclude. And Matty, you've sent me a picture. Oh, my goodness. There's so much more I want to do, but I'm absolutely going to finish by 10:30 because I've actually got another call then. Matty, may have to do that tomorrow. Have a great day from Jarndis. Fingers crossed our offer for a property gets accepted today. Yep, hoping to be there soon. Is fantastic. Pick me, Jenny B. Love it. She wants one of the diaries. Beautiful diary. Jim White wants one as well. And can I have one, please, Jenny, Corey? Oh, Jenny, could I have? Oh, no. You're going to have to be like King Solomon now. You have to chop a few of them in half. I would love one. Or can I buy one, says OLP. Jenny, I can really do with this for the hectic year I face. Lovely journal and ring binding is always best. I would love to give one to my wife. Oh my goodness, Jenny, what have you started? Love the diary. They look beautiful from Michelle. So you're gonna have to tidy that up after the show. Positive vibrations, yes, please. Would love one, Nick's as well. Sorry, Jenny, that journal looks amazing. 18 likes, fantastic. Thank you, everybody. This global community is awesome. Sit on a beach at night, look up at the stars, then consider we are a life form on a speck of dust revolving around the sun. Why do we fight, kill, and control each other? Let's get on, people. Peace and love. I've been looking for something like Serenity and didn't find anything until you interviewed Michael from Serenity. You do an amazing job here. Thank you very much. And I'm going to ignore the ats, and we're going to finish real soon on Spotify. Try listening to Jim Skews, wonderful songwriter and guitarist. Thank you for that, OLP. Such a wonderful person. You say gender and identity fluid is part of life's rich tapestry. Yes, don't get too much fluid on your tapestry is my advice. A conversation that distinguishes the possibility of perspective. Oh, thank you very much, Lonnie. We're going to bring you on one of these Fridays, I think. I do not control anything outside of myself. The best OI. What's that? Operating something like that. But anyway, that is pretty good, isn't it? And other people's opinions are none of your business as well. You could consider, couldn't you? Carl, you are truly a peacemaker. Question. Well, we'll see about that. But I honestly, I'm committed to that. The best I've got is influence. Yes, influence and enrollment, eh? The biological is the machinery that is human life. Everyone's very profound now, aren't they? Thanks. I mean, they always were, but we're giving vent to it, aren't we, this morning? Thanks for a great start to Friday. Sorry to have to leave to walk the dog. Bon fin de semana, igualmente to you, Louise. Conversation and dialogue provides an opportunity for influence, to influence others and to be influenced by others. That is what is so dear and important to us, the openness, the place for conversation. When opinions are stated as facts, civil discourse cannot happen. Thank you. Needs to be 2 hours with Jenny B. Clearly it does. I said I was still asleep. No problem. There. It is the record. It is Friday. Hello, Christina Parava. Hello to you, Christina. Journaling is something I need to do. Yes, please. Jenny, I will not deny others the chance to get one of your diaries, but I would like to acquire one. There you go. Traditional families come in many forms. Okay, there you go. Beautiful work, you two. Thought-provoking as usual. That is the end of the comments. I need to be complete on the images. But Jenny B, thank you so much. I'll leave you to sort out who you're going to upset, who's not going to get a diary now. Maybe I could have put that in a more positive way.
Let me do that.
Okay. Have a great weekend, Jenny. Lovely to talk to you today, to go into the new year on this basis. Fantastic.
Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone. And I will check the comments again to sort out who's going to get a diary. For those who might be disappointed or want to get one for sure, check out the Wholly Healthy Facebook page. You will see them there. And of course, you can purchase them. If you don't have Facebook, just pop me over an email and we'll sort something out for you. And I want to thank you again for a wonderful start in the year. and for joining us and sharing all your energies with us, triggered or not triggered. It's always beautiful to be here with you guys.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you, Carl.
And it's not over. I mean, if you're upset today from listening to the show, we're back again on Monday. Come, we don't. It's not our intention to have people upset, but it is our intention, I think, once people are upset, to be of some assistance in that. That's how I would like to roll with this. It's not big or clever upsetting people, but people do get upset, and the upset space is a great place for exactly the transformational stuff we're talking about here. So
Yeah.
we're here for you in that regard.
Yeah, and also who was it saying just there? The thought provoking. I really like that as well because there's two things you get people to think. It's humor, which we have,
Yes.
and make it a bit of abstract. And I think we do this here perfectly.
Yeah.
So
Try and get the balance right, and if we don't, we'll try again. I mean, really, that's it's about the commitment, isn't it, and the intention.
yeah,
And I hope there is an agreement about the value of that intention and commitment that we have here. And on that note, Jenny, we'll send you on your way, and she'll be in touch with the folks who want either to claim the free prize, and a lot of people, bless you. A lot of people very happy to pay for that fine piece of merchandise from the Holly Healthy
thank
Empire
you.
there.
Yes.
So, Jenny, have a great weekend. We'll see you next month, first Friday.
You too, Ben fin de semana. Thank you so much.
And ciao,
Keep the
ciao.
peace up, guys.
Okay, ciao, ciao. There she goes. Jenni B, everybody of Holly Healthy. And there's the details on the screen there. Holly Healthy on Facebook and Holly Healthy at pm.me. Few things to clear up then before definitely going at 10:30. You rascals keeping us here like this. Get the New Year beers ready. So an announcement tonight for the Man Cave, 10 o'clock. Make sure you make it to there. We are reinstating Pussies, Pooches, and Pest Pics. That feature. Look, from the Algarve. Oh, they're so beautiful, aren't they? From the Algarve, Derby and Dublin. Thank you very much, Victoria, for that lovely picture there. And we'll hold the video for next week. And from Matty, this is an extraordinary picture on the way to Castelo Branco, as he mentioned, and had to stop to take that picture. That's Portugal, people. Isn't that amazing? Absolutely beautiful. Portugal, Castelo Branco. That's what you get to see on the road going from Pombal to Castelo Branco this morning. So I want to feature for you as well. We featured the live cooking work. I was going to say chefing. He prefers cooking rather than to chefing. An update on Owen's situation. buymeacoffee.com/Owen's Alchemy. So we want to support Owen and his incredible culinary skills, insight, and sharing. And I'm going to show you the pictures to prove it now. Okay, this is some of the stuff he's been coming up with, and you can go to that website that's now in the comments to get culinary inspiration. Pictures such as this. I think there's going to be some homemade ice cream there. Isn't that lovely? Look at that chocolate pudding. Oh, and the photography is rather fine on that. Look at that. That is bordering on sexual, isn't it? The molten chocolate is bulging forth from the dough there, and it's dribbling with custard as well. Stop it, Carl. Bickies, fresh from the oven there. Look at these as well. I think more homemade ice cream. And he's taking a bite. He was taking a photograph, but he's taking a bite out of that one. Couldn't wait there. Or maybe Garvo was in the studio and took a bite out of that. Look at those lovely pancakes with is that a bit of homemade granola and some yogurt? What a lovely breakfast. Culinary inspiration. Go over to that link that I've just put in the comments there. Ice cream and bickies, all homemade, all beautifully sourced, local stuff. Oh, stop it, Owen. That looks absolutely delicious, dusted with coconut as well. And this is nothing to do with Owen. These are the socks. Am I right? The socks for a Great Dane. So we've had a pussy, we've had a pooch, and we've had a pest mentioned on the feature, which we're reinstating. So that's Alpha's Christmas gift. Socks for a Great Dane. They're the same socks, aren't they, that an 8-year-old child human being would wear. Okay, I love your kitties, Victoria. Don't we all? Geez, is it Friday already? Yeah, sorry. Weekend alert. We need another video, don't we? Weekend alert for those people who've just been drifting through the week. It's actually the weekend. Whether that makes any difference to you or not is an actual calendar-based fact that it is Friday today. We're going into the weekend. A bon fin semana to you. It's called Lava Cake, Carl. Control yourself. Wah! From Owen there. Oh, no, from Oregonians. It's called Lava Cake. Sorry, I thought it was Owen. It's Oregonians, the OLP. And I did put that link in, didn't I? To Owen there. Or did I not? Maybe I did not. So I'll put that right away now. No, that's not right. That's Jenny's. I'm going to go back. Just bear with me one moment so we can make sure we have got Owen's link in the comments there. buymeacoffee.com/Owen's Alchemy. If you want to buy him a brew, a coffee, you can do that. And I've got all sorts of pop-ups coming on now. I was a cat person before becoming a cat dog lady. Okay, it's a progression there. A progressive week on GMP. We have one thing in common, and that is Portugal. Hopefully, eyes will be open to love and acceptance for all Gumpers, or for all Gumpers in our chats together. Beautiful sentiment to end on. It's almost Saturday by now. Yes, come on, let's go, folks. Bells and whistles. That's what you're familiar with, isn't it, with the theme tune? Slightly different one in the mornings now, but there is a bell in there. Not a total bell end. There's a little bit of bell left in the opening sequence, and here is the whistling for the outro. And I tried to do something yesterday. Stay tuned for the end of this. I've got something rather special for you after the whistling stops.
On the 25th of April, the MFA announced that the people should remain at home because they feared armed confrontations on the street. But the Portuguese population clearly disobeyed the military orders to stay at home because the thirst for freedom overcame all fears. And so people took the streets to the thousands and supported the military coup to force the resignation of the leader of the regime. The people brought red carnations and distributed them to the soldiers, who stuck them in their rifle barrels, making the flower the symbol of the revolution. The revolutionary process of 74 and 75 was one of the liveliest experiences in Portuguese history. In 19 months, there were 2 failed coups, 6 provisional governments, the process of independence of the colonies, several mass strike waves, demonstrations, occupations of thousands of houses, a profound agricultural reform, occupations of land, the creation of workers' cooperatives, workers' councils, trade unions, neighborhood commissions, self-managed factories, businesses, offices, newspapers, and radios. Because the thirst for freedom overcame all fears.